My next patron question is from Joey, who wanted to know why I feel a particular way towards two Disney shows with the same name. I read on your Twitter account that you like both DuckTales shows equally. I'm interested in you expanding your thoughts on this. What elements do you think both the original and reboot excel in? And if someone did like one version more than the other, is there anything wrong with that? Like Joey wrote, I'm a fan of both DuckTales and find they provide equal joys and creativity, so I don't have a preference for one over the other. If I want to see an adventure series with Scrooge McDuck and his three nephews, I think both shows successfully deliver that in their own ways. I did grow up on the 80s DuckTales series, and it still manages to hold up many years later. It was obviously a pivotal show for Disney television animation, with the animation going above and beyond what other animated series during that decade were doing. It understood how to use these characters and what kind of adventures would thrill the audience who tuned in to watch it. And the same philosophy was used by the people who made the newer series. Both shows created exciting stories with a lot of entertaining villains and hijinks with scenarios that stood out from the pack. The 80s show took a lot of influence from the likes of Indiana Jones, which is fitting, seeing as the Karl Barks comics were a big inspiration for Steven Spielberg and George Lucas when they were making Raiders of the Lost Ark and the other Indiana Jones movies. Even when the show did not have the Ducks go globetrotting, the episodes taking place in Duckburg also showed a lot of creativity. The new series did the same, with the writers coming up with their own adventures with a lot of variety. Character-wise, both shows succeed on their own merits. Of course, the star of the show is Scrooge McDuck. Whether voiced by Alan Young in the original series or David Tennant in the new show, he's such a fun character, mixing his thirst for adventure, a desire to be the wealthiest duck in the world, and the love he has for his family and how much he's willing to protect them from any villains who cross their path. Although I will admit one thing the show did better is with the nephews and Webby. Nothing against them in the original show, and Russi Taylor did a good job of voicing them. They absolutely served their purpose and was solid support for Scrooge in his adventures. I just really liked how Huey, Dewey, and Louie were given more individual personalities and voices in the new show. I could actually tell them apart beyond their color-coded clothes, which is quite remarkable. Danny Pudi, Ben Schwartz, and Bobby Moynihan did a great job of voicing the nephews and having fun with their specific personas. Webby was similarly a delight on the new show, with Kate Micucci giving her a lot of energy and providing an arc of her own throughout the course of the series. I also like that Donald Duck was given a much bigger role in the new show as opposed to his minor appearances in the 80s series. Both series did a great job of exploring Duckburg and the various characters who lived in the city, although the new show emphasizes the more technological side of things, like with a Mark Zuckerberg-type mogul. Both series also sport specific art styles that set each other apart. The 80s show went for a classic Disney look not too dissimilar to the other Disney animated shows at the time, but there's a reason the studio kept using it, as there is a pleasing quality to it. DuckTales cost a lot more than other cartoon shows at the time, and people thought Michael Eisner was crazy for wanting to spend as much as he did on it. However, his instincts proved correct, and the animation still holds up remarkably well today. Meanwhile, the new DuckTales provided its own artistic spin on the characters and the world of Duckburg. The character designs are fantastic, and the animators followed suit of how they brought them to life. I like the old-school comic book look of the show too. The backgrounds looking like what you might see when flipping through a classic comic book was especially inspired. Due to the eras these shows were made in, they each take different approaches to their storylines. The 80s show had primarily self-contained episodes, although there were also a few serialized storylines, including the first 5 episodes. The new series went for more of a serialized approach, particularly when we gradually learn what happened to the nephew's mother and Donald's sister Della. This storyline even provides some of the emotional high points of the show. Then there was the way the show incorporated the rest of the Disney Afternoon universe, which was very clever. And of course, do I even need to mention the theme song? I think the DuckTales theme is one of the best animated series themes ever, and it almost feels sacrilegious that Disney Plus gives you the option to skip the intro. The rendition in the new series, performed by Felicia Barton, and the accompanying intro was also fantastic. So as you can see, yes, I do love both versions of DuckTales equally. Although if someone has a preference for one over the other, that's perfectly fine too, as they each provide specific joys of their own. Thank you for your question, Joey.